What's up, everybody? This is Bruins Beat. I'm Matt, and today we're going to talk about Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. 6-2. One more goal than last game. Last game, it didn't feel like a 5-2 game, but today felt like a 6-2 game. It was men versus boys out there, and Carolina started hitting early in the game. They tried playing that game, but for some reason, when you try playing that game with Boston, it never ends up working in your favor. Boston loves that style of play. They embrace it, and they seem to play well when it's a tough, gritty, physical game, which it was. Matt Grzelcyk was getting rocked. Rocked. He got rocked twice. One by Michael Furland, who I think is secretly an offensive lineman for the Carolina Panthers. He's a unit. This guy's a truck, and he ran over a much smaller Grzelcyk. But Grzelcyk ends up getting the better of that when he scores the first goal of the game by Marcus Johansson. This guy is a guy that I hated when we first got him. I'm like, this guy is not worth the trade. And he was hurt, and he just wasn't producing. And lately, the last few games, he has been fantastic as advertised. He delays inside the blue line, waits and waits, gives it off to Grzelcyk, and he finds a hole in Mrazek, who should have had that one easily. It was an easy shot. It went through his equipment, I guess, and kind of a fluky goal, but 1-0 Bruins early. Justin Williams is sent to the box, and the Bruins are on a power play. They look like they have all the momentum in the world right now. Jake DeBrusk, out of a scramble in front of the net, taps it home on about the third try. It's hard to fault Mrazek on that one. He made the first two saves, and it came back to DeBrusk. He finishes it 2-0 Boston. That came close to the end of the first period, so it looked like we were gaining a lot of momentum from that. And it was a really good period all in all. We weathered the storm of Carolina's physical play, and we ended up putting 2 goals in the back of the net, and I think that gave Boston a little bit of a boost because then they started playing physical. Backus ran over someone at the blue line, and that's exactly why he's in the lineup now, to get that physical play back, because the Boston Bruins we're not the same team years ago with McQuaid and Thornton and all those tough guys, that people aren't scared to play us anymore. So when we have guys that still have that physical aspect to their game, it's a perfect situation for it. Us Bruins fans can agree that second periods have been iffy at best for us. So I was really nervous in the second period. I just wanted the momentum that we had in the first to carry over. So we could finally have a good second period and maybe a full 60-minute game. I don't know if that's too much to ask. Early on in the period, my buddy Marcus Johansson, once again, he takes the puck wide, patient, sits in front of the net. This guy was literally stick handling the puck in the high slot. And I don't know where the Carolina defenders were. They were sliding, trying to block a shot. And he had at least 3 or 4 seconds just puck handling at the side. And then when the time was right, slid it over to Connor Clifton, who gets his first playoff goal. Connor Clifton kind of came out of nowhere. He was drafted way back in 2013 by the Arizona Coyotes, well then Phoenix Coyotes. And he was kind of through our system. And he wasn't a big name prospect. He's young, but nobody really heard of him until we had some injuries to Moore and Miller in the back end, and he kind of just seemingly fit right in. And he came up, and he's earned his spot. And I don't think Kevin Miller will be back this series, maybe if we move on. But even if he's healthy, I don't think we could slot him in the lineup. Connor Clifton you're not going to take out. Krug, obviously, you're not going to take out. Carlo, any of those guys are not going to come out of the lineup. And I think Miller would have helped us against Toronto or Columbus, where it was more physical. But right now, Carolina's fast as fuck. Later on in the second, Brad Marchand does what Brad Marchand does. and I love it. Suckers Justin Williams into taking a penalty. Justin Williams, I don't know what the hell he was doing. He was like, I knew they got tangled up, but then he grabbed Marchand's face like your Nona grabs you, and she's like, "Oh, you're so cute, you're so cute," and then undoes his helmet buckle. Anyways, 2 for Williams, and guess who? Matt Grzelcyk makes him pay once again. So we got a nice lead after 2, and I'm pretty happy at this point. The way they're playing, no lead is safe in playoff hockey, as we've seen throughout these playoffs. But 4-0 after 2, and the way they were playing, the chances they were getting, I couldn't see them blowing this. To start the third period, just a minute in, David Backes scores off another net front scramble. And it is now 5-0, and this game's completely out of friggin' hand. Mrazek, I don't think he had a chance on this one. It was another one of those scrambles in front of the net. But if you're Rod Brendamore, I mean, I'm surprised he even came out to start the third period. If you want to go with Mrazek in games 3 and 4 back home, then you definitely should have taken him out. And to me, that's a sign that Curtis McElhinney will probably get the start in game 3 in Carolina. But you got to figure this guy's confidence is completely busted right now. So Bergeron gets a tripping penalty, and we kill that off. And a play by Coyle all the way up the ice as Bergeron's coming out of the box leads to a 2-on-1 for Boston. Dougie Hamilton kind of overplays Bergeron. I think he just really wanted to get the puck off him instead of playing it safe. Bergeron ends up reaching around him and finding Heinen for a nice finish. And then after the play, public enemy number 1, Dougie frickin' Hamilton. Remember that guy? Yeah, he comes in and cross-checks Heinen to the face. It's hard to tell if he was just, his momentum took him in there, or if he was just pissed off that he fucking sucks. I don't know. One of the two. Anyways, it caused a skirmish. Doesn't matter. 6-0 Boston. Teravainen Williams would score later on in the period. That second goal, I'm sorry, we got to talk about that. Tuukka Rask plays the puck cross-body right to Teravainen. He gets an empty netter, easiest goal he'll ever score. I get it. I get he lost the shutout. It's a 6-1 game. You can take the risk late in the game to do that, to make the nice fancy play. But I'd like to think that if this game was like tied, or if it was a 1-goal game, that Tuukka would make a wiser decision, which I'm banking on him doing. You know, chip up the boards, not cross body, or even just stay in the net and try and take the breakaway. But it didn't make a difference. 6-2. Anyways, one last remark. Kudos to the officiating today. It was actually a pretty good game that they called. I think most people can agree with that. The first game was bad on both sides. There's no bias here. It was bad both ways. They were calling penalties that weren't penalties and then letting a lot of things go. I don't know, maybe as makeup calls, but it was bad. But the second game, great job, refs. What we can look forward to game 3. Like I said earlier, I think Curtis McElhinney starting for Carolina. I don't think there's any other options. Peter Mrazek looks a little dented. Get it? See? Dented? Yeah? Oh, no. Anyways, yeah, McElhinney will start. Try and give Carolina a boost at home, where, again, it's a tough place to play, but Boston's up 2-0, and I'm pretty confident right now. So, guys, I'm trying something new here. I always have a lot to say after games. I like talking about the game and venting and showing my frustration and happiness. And I live in Canada, and I'm very passionate about the Bruins, so I can't really talk hockey here because people are still depressed and on hole number 8. So I'm going to try it out on here. So if you're a Bruins fan, feel free to subscribe. And like I said, I'm going to do this as much as possible. Thanks for listening.